This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to a very wet and windy afternoon. No sunset safari. This is Safari Live.
Ready. Standing by.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You are live, you are live.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another afternoon safari on Safari Live. My name is Taylor, and on camera this afternoon we've got Eggsy. Eggsy, give us a thumbs up. You may have seen that his thumb was purple, and that's because it is freezing this afternoon. It's not a sweltering, it's a chilly 60-degree Fahrenheit. So, we haven't seen one thing yet, and we've been driving around looking for the birds, but I think everything has called it quits and gone in and hid for the covers. However, remember I was saying this morning, positive vibes, so we're going to keep on thinking positively. And we're hopefully going to try and find some elephants this afternoon. It's not as windy as what it was this morning, so yes, there is some hope, and hopefully a few birds. I'm always on the lookout for some of those little creatures like the amphibians, like the tortoises. That's what we're hoping is going to come out, but possibly this chilliness is going to keep them away. So let us bumble on ahead, and hopefully we will locate something. The bush isn't thick enough for the animals to hide that well, so hopefully even if we do find something, it will be a little glimpse. And we are hoping that it decides to rain again. As you can see, it's drizzling a little bit and the clouds are thickening up. They have definitely dropped since this morning's game drive. And remember, everybody, we are live, so if you'd like to interact with myself or Jamie when she comes through and says hello a little bit later, you're welcome to either hashtag Safari Live on Twitter, or you can also send us an email, and you can send that email to questions@WildEarthTV. Eggsy, what did you spot? Was it a bird? Oh, it's a waterbuck. There's a few of them. Let's find a nice little gap, but they are in the thicket, like I was just telling you about. I think we may have a gap over here. Do we have a gap? We have a gap. I think gaps are going to be very important this afternoon. Here we go. You can see one very fluffed up waterbuck. Hello. Where's the rest of your gang? They're blending in so well now that it's hard to tell which part is waterbuck and which part is actually a tree. But I think if I were to be an antelope, I think I'd like to go and be a waterbuck, seeing as they have the shaggiest coats out in this part of Africa. So we are situated at the moment on Djuma Private Game Reserve, which is in the Sabi Sands of South Africa. There we go. You can see another one has finally popped out, and that one really is hiding away quite well. We haven't really been seeing too many big male waterbucks. They seem to have moved out of the breeding herds and gone on their own. So they've obviously come through already and competed against other males for the rights to mate with a particular breeding herds. So it'll be quite nice to see a few boys as well. That could be some variety for this afternoon. Maybe we can add that to our wish list. A big male waterbuck and perhaps a big male kudu. Though I haven't been seeing too many of the big kudu over the last few days. There you go, just munching through, and oh boy, are they going to be excited that possibly the drought is over. We had quite a bit of rain since about 10:30 last night, and it's been on and off the whole day, and hopefully we get a bit more rain this evening. And remember, I was saying this morning that Every day we're going to pop past quarantine open area, and we're going to spend a few moments, and we're going to take a screenshot, and we're going to do that for the next few days, just so you can see how it changes every day. Maybe we can even do it in the afternoon as well as in the morning, and it'll be nice to see that lovely lush green carpet of grass that will eventually start coming through. And Janie and I were discussing just before safari how even though this weather probably isn't the best to see some of the herbivores, it's actually really good hunting weather. Now we know this morning that we saw in Kahumas with 2 of the Birmingham Boys on a buffalo kill, so we know that the thunder and the lightning didn't stop them last night. They carried on and pushed through the nasty weather, and it's quite good, I suppose, because there's a lot of noise, especially when there's quite a bit of wind around. We always say that wind muffles sound. Sometimes it does that with our mics as well, as I'm sure you've heard over the last few days, or occasionally when it does get very, very windy, and that obviously works to a predator's benefit. Now, I'm surprised that these Waterbuck haven't got their heads perked up a little bit more and just looking over their shoulder. Oh, the drongo gave that one a fright because of the wind. Like I said, it's muffling sound. So if I was them, I would be super cautious on a windy day, just making sure that there's nothing sneaking up on me. Let's see. I'm going to see if I can get another shot of that fork-tailed drongo. I'm going to go forward a little bit. Oh, now he's flown again. Let's see. Can you see him in there, Eggsy? So, where that waterbuck that we were just looking at, you go towards her, then I can guide you in, because it is hard to see. Can you see the drongo? A bit more to the right. And if you go straight in, can you see it? Let me go forward again. Sorry everyone, it seems to have hopped ahead. Oh, there it is, just flew. Okay, never mind. The drongo does not want to be seen this afternoon, but hopefully we'll be able to find another drongo for you, and then I can tell you a little bit more about them. Let's carry on. Good start in this weather to find a few little waterbuck. So possibly it only gets better from here. Very grey and miserable today. Oh, hello. There's people coming out on safari already. It's nice to see that the guests who have travelled from far and wide haven't left this miserable weather put them off. Like I said, you'll be surprised sometimes how these miserable days can turn around and you can end up having an incredible sighting. Also, because it's nice and cool this afternoon, I wouldn't think that some of the cats would maybe be sleeping. It's a good opportunity for them to move around during the day when they're normally resting on those really hot summer's days. So maybe a leopard or two is taking full advantage of this. So we'll also maybe try and have a look and see if we can't pick up on any leopard tracks. It hasn't rained too hard, so if anything was moving around during the drives, we could possibly see their tracks coming across the road. It's just now that it started to drizzle a little bit more, and it seems to have held off for a bit, so let's keep our fingers crossed. Good afternoon, Rebecca. So Rebecca, sorry, I just thought I saw something over in the distance. It wasn't anything. Hello again. So Rebecca from New York would like to know how much rain we received as of last night. So far we're on 36 mils to be exact, and hopefully we could get that amount again this evening. I'm really hoping though that the rain does hold off while we're driving around, and then once we get back to the lodge this evening, it's welcome. The rain is most welcome, and it can pour down as much as it likes, because I will be sheltered and nice and warm. And also we don't want any of the camera equipment to get wet. And also I don't want to cut the drive short for all of you, because I know that some of you tune in especially just to watch us every afternoon and every morning. But let's go a little bit further. We're going to just take one of the cut lines, Russell's hook cut line to be exact, just to see if anything has walked on in. The road is quite nice. Sorry everybody. The road is quite nice and sandy. Oh, I need to do something for 2 seconds. I've come unplugged again, everybody. Sorry. My mic fell off. It's not good. Okay, hopefully that's a little bit better now, and hopefully it decides to stay there. So you'll see while we're driving how the color completely changes from sort of dark grays of the soil to this very, very sandy yellow color. So there won't be a lot of water on this road, which is great, and hopefully it will leave good indentations of whatever's been walking around while we have been back at the DRC. Goodness. If you look over there, you can actually see how the clouds are all rolling in, and I think in a moment we won't be able to see very much at all. Radio. I was hoping that the termites would have started coming out of their mounds, but I think on account of the chilly temperature they may be holding back to a warmer evening. Here we go. You can actually see quite a bit of water here on the side of the road. So here are some nice big puddles, which is fantastic. Just to give you an indication of how much rain. Everybody, as we're driving sort of into the wind, and like I said, it's spitting a little bit, so Eggsy just needs to very quickly clean the lens so you all have a clear view of what's going on. Squeaky clean, rub-a-dub-dub. There we go. How's that? I think you can all see a little bit better now. I'm sure a few of you were probably rubbing your eyes thinking that it was possibly you. Don't worry, nothing wrong with your eyesight. We're going to be probably doing this quite a few times throughout the show, so I must apologize on behalf. But they haven't quite invented little windscreen wipers yet for the lenses on cameras. There's a business opportunity for anybody. I think I need... Sorry, excuse me. Now the wind has actually picked up quite a bit. Woo. Good afternoon, Canada Keith. It's lovely to hear from you on this, feels like a winter's day. And Keith wants to challenge us, so Eggsy, we've got a challenge ahead of us, to find 3 things that only happen after the rain. Now that could be a number of things. So one of the things that was requested this morning was African land snail. You normally see them just after we've had some rain, or seen some of the winged alates, the termites, which I was briefly explaining this morning as well. If you're watching the show, they could come out. Or to find the first frog or toad of the season. That would be really nice too. Those would be 3 ideal things that I would love to see. I'm not sure. Keith, Canada Keith, did you have anything in mind in particular that you could possibly let us know? Remember everybody, we are live, and if you'd like to interact with us, you're welcome to either hashtag Safari Live on Twitter, or you can even send us an email, and that address is questions@WildEarth.tv. Wait, a little bump there. So I haven't seen any tracks coming in just yet, which is a bit disappointing. Actually, I just want to go back. I don't know if I perhaps saw a green blade of grass. How exciting would that be? I don't think it would have been green like this from now, but possibly there was a little downpour. Now, I don't know if you can zoom in here, easy, just to show how the grass over here is slightly greener. to just find a little piece. So from the normal browns that we've been seeing, can you see that? How it's just a little bit green. Now that isn't from now. Hang on, can you go to this one over here? There's a little bit where there's some green shoots. There we go. You see that there? See that little bit of greenery that's showing, which is unusual because we've just been seeing different shades of brown and different shades of yellow. So as I was saying before, I lost my trail of thought, and I wanted to find you also a good example of what I was talking about, because I don't think it's from the rain now. That's happening too quick, I'm afraid. So maybe there was a bit of a sprinkle a few days ago, but you're going to see this happening all over at the moment. And the grass doesn't need very much rain. Even 5 mils of rain would bring out a carpet of lovely lush green grass. So imagine what it's going to do that we've had 36 mils of rain, and some areas even had 50 mils of rain, which is very exciting. Okay. I'm going to point something out to you. How funny is this? Look at that termite mound over there. Let me go back a little bit. Now we're going to zoom in. We just need to do a quick wipe so you can see quickly. Squeaky clean. Here we go. Look how that top of that chimney is starting to form there. Isn't that amazing? So the termite mounds seem to be the only thing that's around at the moment, and normally these these large fungus growing termites would have actually opened up those chimneys, but because it's so cold, you can see that it's closed it completely just to try and keep some insulation, keep it nice and warm in that mound. If I get to show you some termites, that'd be really amazing. But I'll just tell you a quick little bit about large fungus-growing termites. They're my particular favorite species. And Eggsy, can you just show them the whole thing again? So what you're looking at, as Eggsy zooms out here, is actually only a third of the mound. 2/3 is actually below the surface. Can you believe that? So imagine how big it is. It's like an iceberg. And there are lots of different chambers that you'll find inside of this termite mound. Now, the name large fungus growing termite, as it suggests, they actually grow their own food. So what you'll do is they normally come out at night. They've got a very sensitive exoskeleton, so they don't like to work during the day under the hot African sun, though you may see them even working on a day like today when it is a little bit cooler. It is possible. But I think with this wind and this rain, everybody is moved indoors and is watching television or whatever termites do when it's raining. So right in the middle of that mound somewhere, I'm not sure how far up it is, they have a chamber called the fungus growing chamber. So the workers will go around in the evenings and they will collect all sorts of decomposing matter. So from the dead leaves to the grasses, from the dung, they'll collect it all and they'll take it back to the mound and take it into this chamber. Now this chamber is extremely hot. It's at a constant temperature of about 30 degrees Celsius with almost 100% humidity. So high humidity, high temperature, and it's essential that that chamber stays at that constant temperature. And the reason for that is they start to chew on all the decomposing matter that they've brought out, all the dead leaves, also all the organic matter. They chew it and then they will defecate it out into a big pile, forming a compost heap. And those of you who know, if the conditions are right, or if you're mushroom farmers, you'll know on a compost heap, when there's a high humidity, you'll find that little fungus start to sprout from a compost heap. Am I right? And that's what those termites are feeding on, is they're not feeding on the leaves and the grasses. They are actually eating the fruiting body of the fungus. Isn't that amazing? Hopefully I'll be able to find some termites for you, and then I'll be able to show you the difference between the workers and the soldiers. But perhaps we'll have to leave that for a warmer day when they open up one of those big chimneys. Right, everybody, while I carry on trying to find us something to look at this afternoon, Jamie is finally up and running, and I know she would like to see all of your wonderful faces.
Good afternoon and welcome on another beautiful summer day here in the African bush. And by beautiful I mean that it's raining, which is of course truly beautiful. There you go, I found something for Taylor's list. things that only happen after the rain. It's a millipede crossing the road in front of me, very, very slowly. I would jump out and grab it and show you a little bit closer. I'm a little bit concerned about our microphone. Isn't it lovely? With the wave-like motions of its legs, I've never seen a millipede walk so slowly in my entire life. I think it's cold. Totally, completely harmless little creatures. We call them shongololos here in South Africa, which I think is the most wonderful name. And you know what? I'm going to try it, Dave. I'm going to try and get out. Do you think that's a risky decision? It's probably a risky decision. And just by the way, I haven't even introduced myself. I'm so excited by the weather that we're having. My name is Jamie, and this afternoon I have dazzling Dave on camera with me, and it is Dave's birthday, so at some point on the Sunset Safari we're going to be doing a rousing rendition across the globe of Happy Birthday for the second time. Did you enjoy your birthday, Dave? Poor Dave has been working on lots of things all day. He's been very, very busy on his birthday. Okay, let's risk it. I'm going to take my microphone and pick it up very gently, much like I'm going to do with the millipede. And I'm going to bring it right up to the camera for you. Here you go, little millipede and microphone. Stay. All good. We're managing. We move very slowly. Oh, shame. It really is cold. I've never seen a millipede walking so slowly. Come, little one. No? No? It's okay. It's all right. It's okay. There you go. See, it's warm here. It's warm on my hands. Well, maybe not, actually. How's that? Beautiful. A millipede to start off our rainy summer afternoon. Awesome. Don't fall. Don't fall. I can't catch you. I've got a microphone in my hands. And slowly turn around. There you go. Unlike their cousins, the centipedes, which as you know is my nemesis in the bush, the millipede is completely harmless. It is a vegetarian. And for the last few months actually, they've been in what's known as estivation. So it's like our African equivalent of hibernation, where their metabolism slows down, but as a result of the dry weather rather than the wet weather. You're lovely. Okay, I'm going to put it on the ground now, because it's about to fall off my hand and I can't catch it with one hand. So I'm going to go release it onto the other side of the road so that it doesn't. This is near the fence, by the way, is a house. We've only just made it out of the DRC, which is our main camp. Here we go. Here you go, little buddy. Good luck on your journey. Okay, so we've ticked off one thing. No, let's try that again. Gently does it. We've ticked off one thing on the list of what happens after the rain. Now let's go find a tortoise, or a terrapin, or a frog. I heard a frog at DRC. Actually, I heard an olive toad. Let's be more accurate. Okay, now we're on our way to the Nkuhumas. So if you are joining us for the first time on our Sunset Safari, a very warm welcome, even though it's a very chilly day here in the bush. Bye-bye, millipede. Good luck. And don't forget to send through your questions on #SafariLive on Twitter, or you can email through to questions@WildEarthTV. The Nkuhumas have been very, very busy last night. Perfect hunting weather, storming, windy, wet. We had an Nkuhuma lioness wandering towards us with a very bloody face, and it's still a mystery, because Taylor was with the whole pride except for one lioness, who then came wandering along Philemon's cut line and went and joined the others, and I have no idea where she was, why she left the pride. She was one of the mothers, so maybe the littler cubs got left behind during the hunt, I don't know. Either way, it was most perplexing. So we're going to head there because the sighting is on a main road, which means essentially every single person in the northern Sabi sands can go there. But we have one advantage in that we get out earlier. And the early guide catches the lion sighting. So that's where we're heading on this lovely day. You're nice and warm on the back there, Dave. Oh yes. September likes to keep us guessing. Here, have a couple of 37-degree days in a row and then have a 10-degree day. Just in case you were starting to get used to one thing. How's the microphone? Is it holding up? Oh, good. See, it's going to be a wonderful afternoon. I'm very happy. I've been playing a game. I started it on the Sunrise Safari this morning, and Taylor and myself continued it. Should I make life a bit easier for you there, Dave? Shame, poor Dave. Oh, lilac-breasted roller, you horrible creature. There we go. And poor Dave has to rummage beneath several rain covers and the skirt that's wrapped around the camera to try and move it. And we have one very cold, very windswept lilac-breasted roller. And we started playing a game this morning, and Taylor and I continued it after the drive. We had a great time and a jolly good laugh continuing this particular game. And it's called A Literal Reading of Bird Calls as per the Bird Book. Because whilst we know all of the calls and we often whistle them and sort of tell you what they are, 278, I still want to continue with it because it's thoroughly entertaining. Now we know what they are, but the book has to write them in words, which is a difficult thing to do. So where is it? Ah, that's a letdown. Harsh squawks and screams like the Abyssinian roller. All right, well, let's go to the Abyssinian roller then. A raucous ah! You see? Raucous ah! When perched. Rack in flight and an intensifying ga 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 in aerial display. Right. The reason that I find this endlessly entertaining, first of all, is if you don't know what the bird sounds like, it's impossible to get it from that. And second of all, I'm just imagining the authors of these books sitting down and going, how should we describe the call of the Abyssinian roller? Ka, ka, ka. You get the idea. See, it's kept me thoroughly entertained. I'm challenging Taylor to do the same with every bird that she sees. Ah! Come on, Rusty, fight the wind. It's safe to say this wind is coming from the south. And I think it's bringing more rain with it. Peter's Machine, who is a new viewer. I've never heard that username before. Stick around, please, Peter Machine, because we're slowly making our way towards a lion sighting. You wanted to know what the temperature is here. So I exaggerated slightly, but with the wind chill, it's much, much colder. But it's 16 degrees centigrade, which is, what was it? 60 Fahrenheit. Yes, 60 Fahrenheit. So there you go. That's what, I don't know where you're from, Peter's Machine, which particular part of the world, whether you work in Fahrenheit or Celsius. The intrepid team of Wild Earth and Safari Live are out no matter what the weather, unless it's torrential rain. But we are out whatever the weather, and Taylor, true to her word, has found some termites.
Hello everybody. I may fall down the edge of this termite mound. It's very soft, as you can see, but I want you to have a look inside over here. Now, this section that you're looking at was obviously recently constructed. I'm not sure when, possibly maybe even from last night. It is very soft, and it looks like some of the soil has actually just been deposited, especially around this area there, a very small section of it. Now, I don't know if you, Eggsy, if you can zoom in on some of those termites in there. Can you see them? those are actually the soldiers. Remember I was telling you? And these are the large fungus growing termites. I haven't seen any workers, and obviously, woo, I don't want to disturb, testing my ankle joints out this afternoon, I don't want to disturb too much of the mound. It's amazing how they're just sitting just on the edge over here. Like I said, normally that's what happens when they open up those big chimneys, is they will actually sit just on the edge, try and cool down. Now, I'm thinking I'm going to maybe climb up a little bit higher and see if I maybe can't have a look. Let's try this. It's going to be entertaining if I roll down. I'm sure that all the wonderful ladies in FC are egging me on that I go higher and higher. I'm going to just have a look. Did you see that? Almost, I just touched it. I didn't even do anything. It is so soft. Now, that's also because of all the rain that we've had, obviously, in the last 24 hours. Remember I was telling you about the winged alates, the princes and the princesses of the termites. And now you can see how lovely and soft the soil it is, and how easy it would be for them to burrow down and start building their own colony. So let's just see. It'd be nice just to have a little look. Is anything home? No, and it's so soft I can pretty much build it. Let's have a look here. Everything's hiding away from me now. No. Where are you? Come on, we just want to see you a little bit better. Come out for us. I don't want to get pinched. I've made the mistake before. Here we go. Come out. Can you see them? Are they poking their heads out for you? Here they come. Look at the workers. Now you see what's happened is because I have disturbed the mound a little bit over there. They have now come rushing out to the entrance to see what's going on. So this is the first line of defense in a termite mound, are the soldiers. And it's quite difficult because they really are quite small. You can't really see their pincers too well, but they're really armed with little pincers in front. And I have been doing something similar before with guests, and I was actually showing them. And what happened is I put one on my hand thinking, my hands on the inside obviously are quite tough, unlike the rest of the part of your skin in your body. Well, I thought the pincers could never break the skin. I've never been so wrong in my entire life. One actually latched on right over here, and I started to bleed. And I did let out a little squeal, but I'm not going to do that for you today. I don't want to disturb them too much. So what's happening now is these soldiers are coming through. They're assessing the situation, seeing that there isn't a threat. They're not doing anything. They're not coming charging out at me. Normally they will try, and if it was an aardvark or an aardwolf or a pangolin or something along those lines that feed on termites, they'd come out and try and actually attack whatever is eating them. And the aardvark, for example, would start powering through this soft soil and start feeding on the termites. Now, what they'll do is once they've realized, okay, there's not really a threat here, they'll go back, they'll tell the workers, and I'm pretty sure as I start moving, if you waited a few hours, you'd actually see the workers come out and start repairing the mound. I'm going to leave these termites now. Now I need to try and navigate down this back, and fellies, which are my shoes, don't always have the best grip, but I did it, and I didn't fall. Right, now let me leave some of this mud behind and get back in again. Oh my goodness, I'm going to have to do lots of cruiser cleaning. And let me plug my lifeline back in again. Where are you? Which one are you? This one. In we go. Right. There we go. I'm glad I saved myself the embarrassment of rolling down that termite mound, and I'm quite happy that we managed to see some termites too. So that's another thing I suppose we could tick it off the list. Not quite an alate or a prince or a princess, but something. Kitty Kitty Bang Bang would like to know, when the queen is hatched, does she lay all her eggs at once, or does it take some time? Now, Kitty Kitty Bang Bang, these alites, these flying ants that you may also know them that I'm talking about. They all take some time for them to get their colony going. So I think once she has found a prince and they've burrowed down and she's established a chamber, which could take a few days, she will then start depositing eggs. Now, a queen can lay up to 10,000 eggs every single day. Isn't that amazing? And when something like an anteater, an aardvark, does come through and destroy the mound, the workers will come through and sort of communicate via pheromones, and they will tell them, right, in this raid we lost 3,000 soldiers and we lost 2,000 workers, and she will know how to change the eggs so that they are born into those particular roles, which is phenomenal. There's very, very little that we know about termites. I think we've only just scratched the surface, and everybody's worried about all sorts of things taking over the world. Remember, there's termites under the ground wherever you go. I'm a bit worried about them. One day you'll just wake up and you'll be carried out and underground into a mound somewhere. And you've seen some of those massive mounds that we pass, and they're 2 meters high, and that's only 1/3 of the mound. Good afternoon, Christina. Christina wants to know what the larvae is called that glows at night, that live in the termite mounds, and well, basically what they're called. And if they're glowing at night, I'm pretty sure that it is the larvae of a firefly, if I'm not mistaken, and they're actually beetles, believe it or not. They belong in the Coleoptera family. So those larvae eat a variety of different things, so termites, and then remember I was talking about the snails too, African land snails. They absolutely love to eat those. But termites are food for a number of different animal species. Birds, reptiles, amphibians, even the mammals will all eat a termite, and sometimes even humans. I'm not brave enough, not with these big harvester termites and also the large fungus growing termites. They're armed with serious pincers. However, I have eaten a snouted termite, which is very small, and they're quite tasty, I must say, if you ever get the opportunity to try some of the snouted termites. They've got a little snout that's armed on top of their nose, and they actually spray a formic acid, so they don't have the big pincers like the harvesters do and the fungus growing termites do. They rely on a chemical defense, and they'll spray that into the eyes, into the nasal cavity, and that will cause an irritation to whatever's trying to eat them. But what I wanted to tell you is it actually gives them an interesting flavor, which is quite amazing. It sort of tastes like mint combined with a coriander. Now, you probably think I'm crazy, but you can ask anybody that's guided down in the Eastern Cape, because that's the species of termite that we see down there, or anyone that's just tasted a snouted termite, and they're probably going to agree with me. But while I try and find some other interesting creatures this afternoon, let's head over to Jamie and see if she's got an update for you.
I do have an update for you. I have a very interesting update for you. The Nkuhumas have left their kill, and I don't know why. Now, Aubrey's just told me that there is a second kill that we missed this morning, just off Philemon's cut line, which would explain that lioness. So there we go. We've got an answer to one mystery. But the Nkuhumas have left their kill on Gowrie Main, and where have they gone from there, and why did they leave it? Apparently there's only vultures there. So now you can help me play Spot Aubrey. Aubrey. He says he's somewhere in here. Do I know where the weeping boerbean is? I do know where the weeping boerbean is. The weeping boerbean is there. Is that him there? No, that's a tree. I can just imagine Aubrey sitting in the bushes watching me drive past with great amusement. That's the weeping boerbean. Let me go back to where I saw his tracks go off the road. No, the mystery deepens. I don't know which lions are on this kill. I have no idea. Not the Nkuhumas, I don't think, but it must be the Birmingham male. And as I said, standing by. Okay, copy. Confirm you are south of Philemon's cut line. Copy, I see you. I thought you said north. Sorry. He must think I'm such an idiot. I could have sworn he said north. I think he did say north, actually. This is very confusing, because this is where the lioness went off the road. And what confuses me is if there was a kill here already, they must have made this during the day. Because if there was a kill here already, she would not have gone past there without stopping to feed. I suppose cool, cloudy weather, it's perfect hunting for the big cats. And even with full bellies, you okay there, Dave? Even with full bellies, lions are still consummate opportunists. Right. Let's bob and weave our way in here. I don't think I've picked the easiest route. It's relatively open, so you can all join me on the moment of discovery, a moment of surprise. I'm so busy looking the one way, I didn't even see him, and he was very obvious the other. That's terribly embarrassing, Dave. How do we get there? Which way are the guests looking? Just going to decide which approach is best. Squeeze through here. Okie dokie. Now we're winning. She definitely walked this exact line. So this must... Oh, it's a wildebeest. Aha. And there is the culprit. Hold on one moment. All will be revealed in due course. There's the poor, hapless wildebeest. Looks, from this angle, it hardly looks as though it's been fed on at all. And then, straight ahead, in the most awkward position possible, is one Birmingham boy. You can see him there. No. Look a little bit to the right of the marula. There. Aha! Well spotted. There we go. So, somebody please explain to me what's going on. Where the Nkuhumas are they here somewhere? Did they take their cubs further south for the first time? I hope not. Because that does mean that we won't be able to be with them on this sunset safari. Now, I'm curious to know if this is the same Birmingham boy that was with Taylor this morning. He's looking thoroughly well rested. I don't know. I wasn't at that sighting this morning, so I'm not sure which lion was with them. Ah, apparently it was two of them. This is him, isn't it? This is the gentleman with the... Oh, sorry, Dave. Get over this hump. This is definitely the same. He's got the puffy side, right-hand side of his face. Oh, ouch. That's sore. You see how swollen his nose is? Oh, my word. Poor boy. And he still managed to take down that wildebeest, presumably alone. And you see the fresh scratches around his nose, and I presume if he turns his head, the injury that's causing that major swelling... Oh, shame. He looks like he's got a balloon nose. He looks like an elephant seal. Not quite. That's an exaggeration. The life of a male lion. And there's stories written all over their faces in the form of scars. You can actually see the tooth marks on his head. Those are puncture wounds. That's a tooth. He's really got some scars. Now, presumably this is one of the males that was with Taylor and the Nkuhumas. Shame, he's probably feeling thoroughly under the weather. Oh, big sigh. Probably, most likely actually, this cold weather is making him much happier with life because he's probably got a little bit of a temperature. I think that injuries, it might just be swelling. It might be a little bit infected as well. Thanks, Orbs. Have I done something bad? Am I back? Am I back? Okay. Okay. Alright. I almost feel like I want to hold the microphone, but there we go. Should be okay. Now we have Aubrey to thank for that sighting. Ouch. Yes, I think he might have a little bit of a temperature, our lion. And I think it's making him not nervous, but slightly more aware than normal. He looked up at us when we came through. You can see him looking across at Aubrey. Quite often the Birmingham boys, they're so comfortable with vehicles that they actually just rest their heads down completely and don't even lift their heads when we come past. I think it's testament to the fact that he's feeling a little bit unwell. This is the same Birmingham boy that was with them yesterday. And the swelling to me, unless I'm very much mistaken, I wasn't at either sighting, but the swelling to me looks a little bit worse today than it did yesterday. Shame, boy. It's a tough life being a male lion out here. For our newer viewers, I should probably explain some of the different names and terms I've been using. This is a male lion that is part of the dominant coalition of this area called the Birmingham Boys. They started out as 5 male lions. There's now only 4 of them. One of them died of natural causes. Is Aubrey talking to me? I'm confused. Oh, no, he's just stopped to look at the carcass. The Birmingham Boys are in charge of this area and probably about, I would guess, at roughly 8,000 or so. Am I back? I'm so sorry about the mic issues, everybody. We don't have an option here. We just have to try and make it work for now. Obviously, with all kinds of things happening in the Safari Live world, our equipment is spread across Africa. Not quite, but almost. And so whilst we are doing our utmost to fix the sound issues, there's only so much we can do, unfortunately. So we apologize and we do thank you for your patience. We know it's not right at the moment. Right, what was I saying? Oh yes, Birmingham Boys. They are dominant over at least 2 prides and fathered cubs in at least 2 prides. The Nkuhumas that I was looking for at the start of drive, and the Styx pride. which are a little bit further to the south and the east of where we are now, for the most part. And between the four of them, they move about. Oh, I thought he was going to call then for a second. They move around an enormous territory, and those scratch and bite marks on his face could be from the lionesses getting a little bit cross with him, or could actually be from one of his own coalition members. The lions within a coalition do occasionally have scraps, but for lions it's the equivalent of an almost brotherly fist fight. They just happen to be very large animals with powerful, powerful weapons. And you can see he's even got scars on his back. There's a tuft of his black tail, and there we go. Here's the scars. Top of the tail there. All the way along his body. Nicks and scratches. Now that we've got the opportunity to reposition, I'm going to loop around so we get to look at the front of him. While we do that, Taylor has got zebras in pajamas.
So Eggsy and I stumbled across this dazzle of zebra. There's not too many of them. There are a few that are hiding away. And when we actually got here, they were sleeping. And for a few moments, they were all sitting down, very relaxed. And then they jumped up and darted away. So I'm not sure if it was because of us or if it was because there was a huge gust of wind that came through. But they've settled down now. They've all got their heads down and are munching away, which is good. So I hope it wasn't us that disturbed them. But anyway, now they're getting something to eat. But zebra actually sleep quite a few hours every single day. They'll sleep up to about 8 hours out of a 24-hour period, which is quite a lot. Most of the herbivores don't usually rest for such long periods. But I suppose zebra are very much like horses, and horses quite enjoy their siestas, as well as also having a little sleep at night. So they can sleep sitting down very much like a horse would. Sometimes if they're particularly exhausted, they will completely lay down on their sides. But you can imagine if they do this, they are vulnerable to all sorts of predators. And when they do lay down like that, they're obviously in a deep sleep. And if they weren't paying attention, anything could sneak up and grab them. So you don't see them doing that very often. Now, just with all this talk about the drought at the moment, if you look at these zebras, they do look like they're in fantastic condition. And no, I'm not looking at the size of their bellies. That is a very bad indication as to how healthy a zebra is. So the zebras have got a very simple digestive system and tend to produce a lot of gas, which bloats the stomach like that. But if you have a look at their manes, you can see that their manes are standing up nice and straight. And if they were sick or if they were sort of malnourished, those manes would actually flop over to the side like a horse's would naturally. And that is an indication of if they are healthy or not. Just in case you are new and you have never been watching the show before, it's always nice to mention that when looking at zebra. Look at all those lovely stripes. But they also look a bit damp. I don't think they're particularly happy about the weather today. You can see this one on the left is actually coming out quite nicely now. Coming away from the thickets. Have a look. See, there's one sort of standing just off into the distance. I don't know if you can see that there. So everybody, remember, we are live. And if you'd like to get hold of us or send any questions or comments, you're welcome to either hashtag Safari Live on Twitter, or you can also email us. And the address for that is questions@WildEarth.TV. So here's a question for all of you. Now, I'm talking to the new viewers. I'm not going to talk to you who know the answer, because it's a trick question, and it's a question that all guides are asked when people come on safari. So if you do know the answer, don't spoil it for anybody else, but let's see how many guesses, how many correct guesses we get from some of our new viewers this afternoon. And it's quite a nice game to play. If you've got any children with you that are watching the show, maybe ask them the question. It'll be quite interesting to hear what they say. Now, is a zebra black with white stripes, or are they white with black stripes? And I know some of you are saying, oh, we've heard this question before, but it's important. And like I said, every time I get a new set of guests, that is the first thing they ask me about zebra. So I'll be waiting in anticipation to hear your answers. Very nice of them. Now they have decided to walk off into the distance. Good afternoon, Carla. Thank you so much for watching us this afternoon. So Carla got a great quick response. I thank you so much for being so speedy. So Carla thinks that they are definitely black with white stripes. And you are indeed correct, Carla. Well done. And normally the response we get is that they are white with black stripes. And it makes sense if you're seeing a zebra for the first time, because it looks like there's a lot more white hair on their bodies. Now what I'm actually talking about is not the hair. They are indeed, like Carla said, black with white stripes. And that's because the pigment, the color of their skin is actually black. So if you were to go over to a zebra or even to a grey horse, and you were to lift back that white hair, you would see that indeed the skin is dark. So that's why zebra are black with white stripes. Isn't that incredible? And it's amazing how incredible the black and white coloration is. I know Steph said maybe about a week ago, that black and white is the color that stands out the most in the bush, and you can clearly see that here. But it's an amazing defense mechanism that zebra have when they're standing together in big herds. I don't know if you remember that sighting that we had, was it not yesterday afternoon, the afternoon before, where we sat and waited patiently at the dam with all those zebra, and it took them about an hour and a half down to come down and drink from Red Dam in Arathusa. And I was wondering if you noticed, while we were so engrossed by that sighting, how when they came together it was quite difficult to tell one zebra from another. And that's one of the theories behind the design of a zebra. And another absolutely incredible thing to see is when there's a young foal standing in and amongst the herd. I don't know if you've ever noticed how the young foal doesn't really lurk around on the outskirts, especially if they do feel as though there's a threat around and they all come together. That foal will come to the middle of the herd, and the length of the legs is exactly the same as that of the adults. Quite amazing. And I'm sure you've seen that with horses as well. When horses are born, they are completely out of proportion. They've got these really long gangly legs, and then quite a short stumpy body, and then again a big head. And that is just so that when the predators are looking at them, looking at the herd, they can't make out which are the young ones, because they're just sort of seeing legs, and then the stripes all blend together, and it makes it difficult to pick out the rear end from the front end, which is quite amazing. But you can see they're also very happy today, not swishing their tails around like they normally do on a hot summer's day when there are a lot of insects around. So that's something I have to say thanks for this afternoon with the cool weather, is that there are very few insects around, well, the biting and flying kind of insects, which is great. And you can see that the animals are appreciating that. We've been seeing over the last few days elephants and lions and impala and buffalo who have been very upset by all the different types of flies and midges that have been irritating them, either by going into their eyes or their nose or their mouths to get all the moisture. And some of those flies and midges will even actually bite the ears of those animals. But these zebras seem to be moving on into the thicket now. Oh, I see a hornbill. Can you see the hornbill? It's gone right to the left. So if you carry on panning a little bit further left, to the left of that zebra, keep going, keep going. Right. If you zoom in to the tree on the left, Let's see if it's still there. I think I can still see it. Oh, hang on everybody. Let me try and go forward a little bit. I'm going to try and catch this hornbill. If I can get good old Wendy to start. Good girl. She's behaving for now. Where are you? Did you see where it landed? It didn't seem like it flew very far. Hang on, let's try and get another little look. Oh, I can see another one though. Right. Eggsy, on this tree, directly where the zebra is, can you see just above all those branches? There we go. We have got a yellow-billed hornbill. Look at it. Doesn't that look like the grumpiest hornbill? Well, it's the grumpiest hornbill I have ever seen. Look at the head tucked right into its breast, trying to keep out of the wind and keep nice and warm. All fluffed up. Not impressed with this weather. Now, Mr. Hornbill, if you had found the termite mound that I found earlier, you would not be looking so meal. Now, we get a variety of different hornbill species in this area, and this is one of the most common. So we've got the yellow-billed hornbill, we have the southern red-billed hornbill, which looks very much like this yellow-billed, except it has a red bill, and the bill is much more slender. We also then have the African grey hornbills, and occasionally we see the crowned and the trumpeter hornbills, but those two species are not as common. And then, of course, everybody's favorite hornbill, the southern, the ground hornbill. I completely lost blending two different species of birds together, or subspecies. So the ground hornbill is quite an amazing bird. We haven't been seeing them too often, but there's not too many breeding families around, unfortunately, in this area. They are few and far between, but they're quite nice to see. But like I said, I may even have to try and take a little snap of this very grumpy hornbill. Like I said, this is a first for me, and we're ticking off lots of firsts. Well, it's not the greatest because we seem to be looking into the grey sky, but I will give it a bash anyway. That's what a little bit of Lightroom is for, just to maybe turn down the highlights, and that is hysterical. Or maybe I can't even see its eyes anymore. The other one was flying around. So this actually looks like a male. Well, the reason why I think this is that if you look at its beak, you can see it's quite robust on the top. And that is a typical characteristic of the male hornbills. The female hornbills tend to have a slightly more slender bill. And I think that other one that I was trying to show you earlier perhaps was the female. They are monogamous, so they do sort of hang around together. Hello, Claudia. Claudia wants to know, what do hornbills eat? Now, Claudia, I don't know if you just heard that I was talking about a variety of different subspecies of hornbills. Now, the yellow-billed hornbill eats a number of different things, from termites, which is typically what you see them feeding on. They love termites, especially now when the mounds are nice and soft, like I showed you earlier. It's really easy for them to penetrate through. They'll even eat a few seeds if they can. I've seen them nibbling on bits of fruit as well. But predominantly in this area, they're feeding on types of insects. So from grasshoppers to a moth or a butterfly, if they can catch one. But at the moment, this hornbill is not eating anything. And I think he's sort of feeling very sorry for himself. Now, my particular favorite, the ground hornbill, the southern ground hornbill, is a ferocious, I think ferocious is the correct word, a ferocious predator. I've seen them eating chameleons. I've seen them eating snakes, even pecking through the hard shell of a tortoise. I mean, how unbelievable is that? And sometimes, I haven't seen it very often, but it does happen, is that those big hornbills will actually go and feed on carcasses. I think I want to show you what a ground hornbill looks like. Let me just find it in my book of tricks quickly, my lovely bird book that has been everywhere with me for the last 5 years. Now, I should probably just look at the back and the index. That would probably help me. H for hornbill. Seeing as we're here, and I know Jamie has been doing bird calls, and I know she challenged me earlier today to do a bird call. Maybe I'll do the yellow-billed hornbills call. Let me quickly get my There we go, Southern Ground, 266. Let's get there, and then I shall do the call of the... Right, are you ready for my call, everybody? Okay, let me just take a deep breath. So for the yellow-billed, southern yellow-billed hornbill, it goes... And then they flap their wings as well and arch their backs. I can't do it as well because I don't have a beak. But that was my impression. Now I'm going to quickly show you the southern ground hornbill. Look at that over here. Isn't that impressive? So let me just hold the pages nicely because they're going to blow away. Amazing birds. And they're big. They can stand at almost 1.2 meters tall, which is pretty impressive. And a big male can, sorry, a female, and the males, they're very similar in size. Just once again, the skin around the eye and the neck with the males is a lot more red. You can see there's a female. And they, oh sorry, other way around, I'm going crazy. And then their weight, which is quite impressive. I'm going to pull the book away now just because I'm about to lose it. They can weigh up to 6 kilograms, which is quite a big bird. And it's amazing. And they can fly as well. It was one of the things I was most impressed as to how easily a bird that weighs so much, how easily they can fly through the air. Though they don't fly very often, it's normally just to fly up to the tops of trees and roost. And I suppose if they do feel threatened, then it's a quick way to get away. And there our zebra have moved off, and our hornbill has also flown away. Right, let's carry on a little bit longer. I'm getting very tongue-tied. My brain is frozen this morning. What's happening? Why am I not going anywhere? See, exactly. It's not even the morning. Thank you, Rebecca. It's the afternoon. That's how frozen my brain is at the moment. Goodness gracious. I think we're going to have to thaw out around the fire this evening. Oh, our hornbill seems to be a little bit happier. Can you see it up there? Oh, wow. Can you see it there? Patricia wants to know if fungus or mushrooms will pop up overnight after the rain. And yes, you're correct. Normally after big thunderstorms, you'll actually see mushrooms forming at the base of trees. I haven't really seen it too much over here. I've just seen a few. I'm not actually even sure of the species of mushrooms that they get in this area. But yes, I have indeed seen it, especially down in the Eastern Cape in an area called Hogsback. After a thunderstorm, you will see an array of fungi growing at the base of the trees. You see, those are the two hornbills that we were looking at earlier, and they seem to have woken up a little bit. They've got a bit of a personality. What are they pecking at? They're eating something. I can't see what that one was munching on just now, but it did peck and throw something in its mouth. Maybe it got a little grub or beetle or something that was holding on to that branch. They still don't look very happy though. Another one's coming a little bit closer. Are you going to fly away? Yes, you are. Bye-bye, hornbills. They put on a wonderful show for us, so that was good. And that's another one to add to your bird list, everybody. Remember, we are creating a bird list, and I'd like to hear some of the special birds that you have seen for those who have been watching Safari Live for some time. It'll be nice to know what I can expect to see in the up and coming months as the weather warms up. Oh, hang on. Our friends are back. Are you going to fly away, or are you going to just stay, Mr. Hornbill? Stay nicely. I'm just going to pretend like I'm driving away, and then they may sit still. Look at that. They're right here. We might actually get a very nice close-up. Hello. There we go. Isn't that amazing? Carla, it's so great to keep hearing your name this afternoon. Thank you for asking so many questions. Carla wants to know if this is a male and a female. Now, the one that we're looking at actually looks like a female. You can see that bill. I don't think, in my opinion, that it is as robust as the one we're looking at. But we'll see now. Let's see, I've lost view of the other hornbill. Let's sit here for a few minutes and let's have a look. Maybe I'm incorrect. Maybe there are two males, but I can't see. Can you swing over to the right? That other one is just popping up. Yes, I think that is the male there. You see, just the crest on its bill is a lot more broad than the other one was. So I think it is a male and a female. It would be bizarre to see two males hanging around with each other. That's not a very common sight to see. But that is quite a pretty contrast that you're seeing with that bright yellow bill against the green leaves of this acacia tree. That's a nice screenshot, everybody. Very nice. Maybe I should even try. Nah, I don't know. Watch, if I point my camera at them, I know they're going to fly away. So I'm not going to do that because I don't want to ruin the view. The birds sense when guides have cameras because they're the most difficult thing to photograph. I probably only have a handful of really good hornbill pictures. Very nice, but they're very cold. I can hear elephants, everybody, and I've been trying to find them for the last 20 minutes or so before we stumbled across the zebra and the hornbills, and I can't pinpoint where they are because of this wind. The sound is really just traveling. Eggsy, did you hear that? Where did it sound like? Eggsy says it sounded like everywhere. So let's carry on up ahead because I think we could be getting closer to these elephants, but we will meander this way and just see if we get any luck. Ooh. Hello, Liz. Liz says that some of her favorite birds are carmine bee-eaters. Now, for those of you who don't know what a carmine bee-eater is, you may have seen a little bee-eater. They are the ones that are hanging around at the moment. They're bright green and they've got a little bit of yellow on them. Now, the carmine bee-eaters are even prettier. You wouldn't think that something could get even more beautiful than a little bee-eater, but they are sort of a pinky magenta color. I could describe that. So if we stop again, I will show you what a carmine bee-eater is, and they should start arriving now at the end of October or so, which is quite nice to see. We used to see quite a lot of them down in the southern sections of the Sabi Sands, and also in Zambia. Oh my goodness, we saw massive groups of the bee-eaters. Right now, we're on the hunt for elephants. If you have just joined the show, we heard them in the distance, but the wind is now picked up again, and it's distorting the sound quite a bit. So I'm uncertain as to where they are, but it sounded like they were coming from this block just to the west of me. Now, unfortunately, we can't off-road for elephants, and I don't like to off-road for elephants, even if you were allowed to. Firstly, just because you need to give them a lot of room. So I'm hoping that we'll be able to get a view of them if they're not too far in this block. It's quite a big area, and there's just sort of few roads surrounding the outside, and that's what I love about the bush, is that you can't just drive everywhere and wherever you want. We obviously limit to where and how we can maneuver the vehicles around. We don't want to damage the environment unnecessarily, and with these elephants, they can hide. Can you believe it, that the largest land mammal can hide away? But they are indeed doing a good job this afternoon. Right, where are you? I'm going to carry on searching for these elusive elephants. I think Jamie's finally got a better spot, and I know she's itching to show you the rest of the lions.
But we do have a far better view of our male lion. And it gives us a chance to have a bit of a closer look at his injury. Those of you who are not fond of such things, please look away now. We're going to have a closer look. Might make you feel a little bit queasy if you're squeamish. Definitely a bite wound to me. That looks like a puncture. It is still bleeding. And moving? Oh! Did anybody else's stomach turn when you realized what you're looking at? Oh. Ooh. Okay. So the maggots that are in his wound that you can see moving around, that's actually not a terrible thing. They will eat away the infected dead tissue. It can't be comfortable, and if If you're anything like me, you're now shivering a little bit. Oh, goodness. Okay, let's stop looking at the maggots in his injury. Oh, goodness. Not pleasant at all. Shame. No wonder he's feeling so horrible. Oh, poor boy. And no wonder it's still bleeding a little bit as they irritate it. Shame. Not nice. Hopefully his immune system kicks in. Now, Kim from Florida was saying that cats puncture their own injuries to get rid of the abscess or the infection there, to essentially reduce the swelling. And I was wondering if big cats do the same thing. I think that in a situation like that, they might worry at it. Especially if it's on their face, they might rub to the point that they rupture it. I don't know if there's an intentional thought process behind it. You know, I don't think that they think, oh, let me pop this, it'll feel better. I think it's more that they push against it and they rub it if it's not comfortable. And then it, in turn, starts to ease the discomfort, and maybe even squeezes out a little bit of the infection and the pus, which is essentially just dead white blood cells doing their job of fighting off the infection. Okay, I need to take a break from looking at that. That's hugely unpleasant, that thought. I promise you, he will be fine though. We've seen far worse injuries. It's all a day in the life of a male lion. But I do feel for him. It can't be pleasant, and he can't be feeling very well right now. No wonder he responded in the way that he was yesterday with Taylor in her Nkuhuma sighting, when he was growling and a little bit snarly at the cubs and at the lionesses. You can't blame him for being a little bit down in the dumps and a little bit grumpy. Just by the way, my apologies. It is not a wildebeest. It's a baby buffalo. So I'm sorry about that. I jumped to a conclusion, and now that I look at it from face on, that's a baby buffalo, not a wildebeest. So obviously this all happened at the same time. So the Nkuhumas raced ahead. One of them might even have taken down the baby and then just carried on, or maybe the male took down the baby and then the rest carried on. But in my opinion, this all happened during the same hunt. And then we've seen that before with the Nkuhumas, or I say we, you guys have seen that before with the Nkuhumas, with the Birmingham Boys and Hayden, where they took down several buffalo calves in one hunt. So it absolutely does happen in that situation. And I have good news. It looks as though they have found the Nkuhumas. They're still on the main road, and it might take us some time to get into that sighting. You know, we've had the best of luck with the Nkuhumas. They've been on Djuma the entire time, and not every guide in the Sabi Sand can drive Djuma. So it's only fair that they actually have a chance to spend a little bit of time with them first. We've been spoilt. Yeah, no, this definitely happened at the same time. I'm looking now at the tracks in the ground, and I don't know if you can see some of the buffalo tracks there, Dave. Deep in the wet, yeah, deep in the wet. Yeah, there you go. You can see they were running just from the depth that they sank into the mud. They sank so deep that if you have a look carefully, look at that track that Dave's got there, right in the middle of your screen. They've gone in so deep that the two indents at the back are actually the dew claws of the buffalo, and you only ever see that when they're racing and when they're running through soft sand. That's, yeah. I'm going to try. I don't think I can point it out. I don't have a stick. These are the dots here on the end. There you go. There's my blurry finger for you. Enjoy. So those are the dots at the back of the track. And then not only that, but the buffalo tracks are going different directions as well. So the lions had an absolute field day with this poor buffalo herd last night. You can imagine, wind howling, disoriented, dark, thunder, lightning, can't hear anything, can't smell anything, rain pouring into their eyes, and probably 6, 7 very efficient feline predators coming after them. 5 Nkuhuma lionesses and 2 Birmingham boys. It's a seriously intimidating thought. I did think about that, Tim. The thought occurred to me when I realized which lion was here. After I said that they hadn't eaten much of the buffalo, I was quite surprised. And Tim was wondering if perhaps his injury isn't affecting his ability to feed. Yes, to an extent. He's full. He has eaten quite a lot of meat, but I think it stopped him from gorging himself. So I think lions generally eat and eat and eat as much as they can, and then even when they're full, they walk up and they kind of stumble up to the carcass and go nibble on it for a while. I think he ate until he was full, and now it's sore for him to bite and to chew and to move that lip around, and he's decided it's not worth it. He's not hungry anymore, therefore it's not worth eating. But if he were really, really hungry, it wouldn't stop him. Absolutely not. I mean, we saw the Birmingham Boy with the split lip. He had a split all the way down his lip, but you could see his canine through it, and he was still feeding when that wound was fresh. So nothing will come between a lion and their... If a lion stops eating, then you know they're really not feeling well. And this, I'm sure he's so grateful for this cooler weather. Sorry guys, I'm just listening to the Game Drive channel. And I can hear some olive toads here as well. I think we'll give it another few moments with him, and then after that I will probably leave and see if we can't have a chat about the Nkuhumas. I don't think he's going to get up to too much. They've got very full bellies. I'm just thinking, that lioness, that we found this morning, she must have lost her pride in the chaos of the hunt. They must have caught something, and she must have stayed and fed off it, and the others had gone off in search of something else, and she got separated from them. That's the only conclusion that I can reach. And Kathy in Tennessee, you wanted to know, sorry, here we go again, everybody sensitive, look away. You're wondering whether or not once the dead tissue is gone. Sorry, hold on 1 second, sorry. Standing by. I'll just have to have a quick conversation. Thanks very much, Abel. Do you know if they're running it on the Western Channel or the Eastern? Copy. Thanks very much, Abel. Right. Sorry, we were chatting about the maggots and whether or not they're going to drop off once all of the dead and infected tissue has been removed or not. Oh, goodness. That is so horrifying. You can see him twitch a little bit in pain. And the answer to that is, I'm not 100% sure what exactly is going to happen. As far as I knew, maggots generally only ate decomposing flesh or dead flesh and not living flesh. But it's sort of, I guess they'll crawl out and drop off, but it's kind of hard to see how it would work, isn't it? Some of them might die off. I guess they will. Honestly, I'm not 100% sure. I guess they'll crawl out. I find it difficult to believe that they wouldn't eat a little bit of living flesh as well. Ashka, you want to know what is the possibility of this infection turning septic. It probably already has, to an extent. It's probably, in a way, his system is fighting it off. We'll probably, if we were to examine him, we'd find that he would have a temperature. There'd be quite a lot of pus in there, and he'd be fighting it off with his immune system. Oh my word. Am I seeing that right? I am, aren't I? Wow. What? unbelievable. Sorry, I know this is very unpleasant, and we will look away from it in a moment. I'm absolutely, I can't stop looking because I'm intrigued by it. I'm trying to think how this is working biologically. I'm looking, bear in mind I'm looking through a small monitor as well, but they're moving in waves. Goodness. They almost look like they're multiplying, but they can't be, obviously. That's not how it works. What? Oh, what is going on there? Me neither. I wish I could make this, I wish I could see further in. I'm pressed right up against my monitor trying to figure this one out. Shall be close without doing it there, if I come up your side. Okay, hold on. Bex, I'm going out of comms for a moment. Sorry, everybody. For those of you who are utterly revolted, keep looking away. I promise I'll let you know when you can watch again. I want to try and figure out exactly what's going on here. And if they're perhaps on their way out. I'm climbing up to join Dave in the back here. That's insane. Oh my word. That's this... Are they actually... That is maggots, right? Wow. Okay, sorry for those of you with weak stomachs. Let's look away from that now. It's enough. Alright, those of you who tuned out due to not wanting to see that, you can watch again. So Dave's camera, without doing it on your side, is able to magnify it from mine, from his, and therefore from mine, because I climbed up to sit in the back with him. I've never seen anything like that. Absolutely extraordinary. So we were talking about the likelihood of it turning septic. I am 95% certain that he's going to be absolutely fine. I'd actually say higher than that. I'm 99% certain. You've got to always be careful of giving absolutes in the bush, obviously, because strange things happen, things go wrong, things go right, animals surprise you. So it's impossible to say anything with a complete degree of certainty. But I'm sure he's going to be okay. I know it looks awful. And it does look very swollen, and it must be very uncomfortable. There's no getting around that. He must be very, very uncomfortable. Shame, boy. Who did that to you? And that, to me, looks like a tooth. Ah, there we go. James, thank you very much. James Dungan is able to actually see a little bit better than I am, and has actually pieced the puzzle together better than I did. That's absolutely what's happening. Because the injury runs along the nasal cavity, it's moving as he breathes. They're moving as he breathes. Thank you. Perfect. Brilliant. Totally logical. I totally should have figured that out. That explains why they were moving like that. Oh, very well done. Thank you. And Rain, who is 16, you wanted to know, is it possible that the male lion was stung by something? It's not impossible, and I have seen lions that have been stung before with big swollen faces, and they look very uncomfortable. But Rain, a sting like that is unlikely to cause such a nasty injury. It could, I suppose, on your logic also, potentially have been something like a snake bite, because a puff adder does... Something cytotoxic does cause that huge amount of swelling. But if it had been a puff adder, it would have been even bigger. The fact that he's got fresh scratches around his face as well, and a couple of puncture wounds on the top of his head, immediately says to me that this was a lion fight, rather than any other kind of injury. Shame, boy. So uncomfortable. Right. Well, I'm going to regain control of my stomach contents and while we do that, let's go back over to Taylor. Woof.
Hello everybody, if you've just tuned into the show, my name is Taylor, and on camera this afternoon we've got Eggsy, and we are on a live African safari. Look what we have hiding under a guarri tree. See that? A waterbuck, everybody, and not just any waterbuck. I was particularly searching for a male waterbuck this afternoon. I made a comment earlier that I haven't really been seeing too many of the males with the ladies anymore, so we found him on his own, but he's hiding from us. However, he hasn't got anywhere else to go. He's going to have to come back out this way. He's munching onto some of the grass that's hiding underneath this guarri tree. Come on, or you're going to go around, you're going to go over. Oh, okay. You see? The animals love to make me look silly. Let's go up a little bit closer and we'll reposition. Just because he's a really beautiful specimen of a waterbuck. Right. No. But you honestly, you were posing so nicely for us earlier. This is very typical of the animals. Is he hiding still? Wait, hang on. Are you going to come out? I can't believe this, everybody. He was posing so lovely. It's only a matter of time before he lifts up his head and shows us his face. So, like I said, everybody, we're on a live African safari, and if this is your first time watching, welcome. And if you'd like to ask us any questions or comment on how wonderful it is to be able to see these wild animals live, you're welcome to either hashtag Safari Live on Twitter, or you could even email us, and the address for that is email questions@WildEarthTV. Come on, Waterbuck, pop your head up. Look at that lovely splay of horns that he's got over there. And like I said, they have finished mating with the females now. The rut is sort of over, and hopefully at the end of the year we're going to see